Some say Chinese is one of the most difficult languages in the world, and learning it is almost impossible.
So learning Chinese, the most difficult thing.
非常非常非常非常非常难.
So I'm sort of tone deaf. I can't really hear them.
I think the cultural mindset is the biggest complication for
The
us.
grammar.
知吃思吃都还难。
It's just complicated so much.
Only because you're not learning it in the right way. Why not try Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好, welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm your host Niu Honglin with Neela here in the studio. Hi, Neela.
你好，老师。
Oh, you're being very respectful and you're speaking Chinese. That's impressive. I bet you were a great student when you're in your student time.
I think my teachers would beg to disagree.
Really?
Because even though I wasn't a terrible student when it came to passing the exams, I was just a terrible student when it comes to class attendance. You know,
and you're not a 学霸.
Studying. No.
We have the word 学霸 in Chinese.
What does that mean?
So 学 is study. And 霸 is more like 霸王 or 霸主. That suggests someone has the supreme power of something. Sometimes it's a little bit bullying, has this bullying kind of sense in it, but sometimes it just means that when it comes to the subject, when it comes to study, this one is absolutely the king and he has all the powers,
right.
he or she. So 学霸 is
So
like
these are the people
who
who spend a lot more time every single time they don't have free time to play games or do other things. They just want to study.
Yeah, they just want to. It's not like they don't have free time. They don't want their free time. They spend their free time studying.
So I'm the opposite of 学霸.
So then maybe you're 学渣. I don't know. We'll talk about it. And later on, we are going to discuss all the different words concerning studying. But now, if you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get to grips with the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes a day and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese, follow our Facebook page, Learn Chinese, or log onto our website at chinaplus.cri.cn and click on the column 你好. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway.
Chinese 101, a promise beyond the basics.
考试复习的怎么样了？
别提了，我几乎没有复习。
我不信，你上次也是这么说，但还是考得很好啊。
不骗你，我真的没有复习。
See, a very serious conversation about have you studied? No, I haven't. You must have. You got great score. And it's just pure talent. I haven't studied. Basically,
Yeah.
I don't like that kind of conversations.
I think it reminds me a lot of my time in college. We used to have a lot of this conversation,
Yeah.
and I was the one who would be going like, I didn't prepare, you know. But then the test comes when I actually did well.
See, you're a 学霸 after all.
Not really.
So let's
Something in between.
that would be possible too. So here we have part A saying 考试复习的怎么样了?
How is your preparation for the exam?
So actually 复习 here, because I heard you use the word preparation, and I think preparation is more like 准备.
Yeah.
So 准备 is like getting ready for something, prepare for something. And here 复习 is like a more specific way to prepare for the test. That is to study them again, making sure nothing's left behind. You've got all the knowledge you need. So 复 is like again. 习 is 学习 is study. So 复习 would be study again. And 考试 here, 考试 is a word meant test. Actually, both 考 and 试, both characters mean test.
Can we replace it with 准备?
We can.
考试准备的.
We can.
Okay.
We can say 考试准备的怎么样了? And I think 准备 would be a broader kind of way of saying have you prepared for something, or do you think you've got enough preparation? But 复习 is like, have you studied for the test?
Okay. Or have you done the revision?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And 复习的怎么样了? We have 怎么样 or 怎么 as how. So I think the tricky part here is the word 的, because it suggests a certain language structure. For example, if I want to ask you to provide me with an adverb that describes a certain verb, I would use the de structure, and that'll be the verb plus de plus the adverb. For example, I can say 他英语说的一般.
His English is average.
Yes. So you can see that 说 is the verb here. And I said 说的, which is the structure, verb plus de, and plus an adverb. The adverb is 一般. 一般 is common, usual, you can see on the street. I can also say 我吃得太饱了.
I'm stuffed.
I'm stuffed, yes.
Yeah.
But you see, the English didn't really get a direct translate. The direct translate would be I ate too much. So 吃的, that's the verb plus the, and the adverb here is 太饱了, too much, to feel stuffing. And after knowing that we can say a verb plus the plus an adverb, you can actually use another structure asking the question, that is verb plus the 怎么样? So if I ask, how's the food? Well, maybe not how's the food. If I ask how well he speaks English, I can also say 他英语说的怎么样? So you have the verb plus 的怎么样? So when you're using that structure, it's basically you're asking the adverb.
他英语说的怎么样? Okay. 他中文说的怎么样?
Yeah, how's his Chinese? And later on, we have part B saying 别提了，我几乎没有复习.
Don't mention it. I almost didn't review it.
So don't mention it can be the answer of thank you, right? In English. But in Chinese, 别提了 cannot. So just 别提了 is just do not talk about it. I don't want to talk about it kind of feeling.
Right. Oh, yeah. I don't want to talk about it.
Yes. So 我几乎没有复习. We know that 没有 is haven't done something. So 没有复习 is I haven't prepared for it. I haven't revealed any of it. And 几乎, see, the tricky word is 几乎 because 几乎 is almost. So if I answer, I told somebody, I almost not read that book. It might mean that I have finished it or there's only one page left.
Yeah, and you're just being too modest.
Yeah, so 几乎, if someone if you ask him, how do you lose weight? And she said, 我几乎没有干什么，我几乎没有努力. I almost didn't do anything.
Wow, okay.
And that's just being not a very nice person.
You're lying.
Yeah, basically. Anyway, 我几乎没有复习. I almost didn't reveal it. And then part A is obviously not happy, said, 我不信上次你也是这么说的，但还是考得很好啊。
I doubt it. Last time you said the same words, but you still scored well.
So 我不信, it's actually I don't believe you, but I think I doubt it'll be proper English in this case. You can also say 骗人. So 骗 is lie.
You liar.
You liar.
Yeah.
你这个骗子.
Yeah, but you say it in a playful way.
Yeah. 上次 last time 你也是这么说的. You also did the same saying if I'm doing a direct translation. But in English, apparently, it's you said the same words. 但还是考得很好. See, we're seeing it again. 考得很好. Did well in the test or test well. 但还是考得很好啊. But you still got a pretty good score.
Good.
And then part B said, 不骗你，我真的没有复习.
Not joking. Well, I'm not joking. I didn't review it at all.
See, I don't like this person anymore. 不骗你. I think here you can also say 没骗你. I haven't lied to you.
I'm not lying to you.
I'm not lying to you.
没骗你.
Because 没 suggesting that something, I haven't done something. And 不骗你, similar when in this situation, but sometimes there's slight difference between 没 and 不.
Okay.
We've done this before.
So they're interchangeable depending on the situation?
Yes, sometimes they're interchangeable. And if you want to know the difference, check our previous episodes. You will understand the difference between 没 and 不. And 我真的没有复习. 真的 is really. And 没有复习, again, 没有 haven't. 复习 reveal it. So I think it's not a very complicated conversation. Shall we try it?
Let's try it.
考试复习的怎么样了？
别提了，我几乎没有复习。
我不信 上次你也是这么说的，但还是考得很好啊。
不骗你，我真的没有复习。
That's really good. And the 不骗你 part, you nailed it. The tone is certainly correct. And you're listening to Takeaway Chinese with myself, Niu Honglin, joined by Nila, who's speaking better and better Chinese, apparently. Coming up next, let's talk about 学霸 and 学渣 and what's the difference between different kinds of nerds. Don't go away, so you will take some Chinese away.
Language tips. All you need to learn about Chinese culture and have fun.
Welcome back to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin, and sitting next to me is Nila. Hi, Nila.
你好。
你好. Wow, you're just really getting better. So, you've talked about you being not the kind of students who love study so much. And I think there are a lot of fun way to express that. We've talked about 学霸. 霸 is like 霸主,霸王, the king, the superior power of something. So 学霸 enjoys studying so much that they do not want to spend any time doing other stuff. And there's the other kind is 学渣. So 渣 is like the grounds, like the coffee grounds. You can think about the texture and
It's very fine.
Yeah, and it's very, you cannot build anything out of it. They just don't hold. And that implies that if somebody, see, you get it. I think it's a very interesting expression. It's just, they just cannot make themselves out of something when it comes to study. They just can't study. So 学渣.
I think I'm probably a 学渣.
I don't know. Because,
seriously, I think I am.
But that suggests that you do not like to study at all. I don't think it's the case.
I don't like to spend a lot of time studying. Like when I'm studying and I feel like I'm just repeating and I'm not understanding anything, then I stop.
I still don't think you reply. And there's actually another kind that's 学苏.
Okay.
So the word 苏 is like, have you ever tried the kind of cookies that's very crispy, and even if a very slight touch, they would collapse.
Yes.
Into little pieces.
It's more like crackers.
Crackers, yes. But it's very crispy. And think about it, it looks like it holds, but whenever you touch it, they just fell apart, like crumbles. So it's a very interesting expression. And there are some other expressions about study. For example, nerds. I think nerd is like what we say 书呆子. So 呆 is the kind of, I think 呆 is the color in it. It's that they don't react very fast. In daily life, they seem not that smart, but not because they're really not smart. It's just because they bury themselves into the books too much.
I think they invest their imagination, their brains, their heart into a specific thing, so they're very, very focused. So they don't care what the rest of the world thinks about them outwards.
Yes, 书呆子. But I think it still holds a certain negative feeling, a little.
Yes.
Just a little. And we also have geek.
Yes.
And the Chinese word is 极客, but I think that one is a little bit more translated because of the English, because you think the pronunciation is similar. And 极客, this in Chinese, to me, 极客 would be like the kind of nerds who concentrate on computers.
Yes.
Right? Same thing.
People who are into technology savvy people,
yes. And there's bookworm, that's 书虫 or 书迷. I think bookworm is not about studying, it's more about reading. It's someone who likes to read so much.
Somebody who's a lot more knowledgeable about books and enjoys reading, enjoys reading. Yeah. And that's a bookworm.
Yes, and bookworm, the Chinese equivalent of bookworm, 书虫, is also a direct translation. You have book, 书, and worm, 虫, putting together 书虫. Yes. And we have 学习机器 on the paper, but I don't think it's very commonly used.
A study machine.
A study machine.
I think, in my opinion, when I was growing up, a study machine for us will be somebody who can go through something really quickly and understand the content, almost the entire content.
Yeah, that would be also another kind of 学霸 to me. I think 学霸 can be those who enjoy study so much or those who are so good at it that they don't really need to spend a lot of time on it.
Right.
You mentioned that you are the kind of student who say, yeah, I didn't prepare for it and then got a good score.
Yeah, but then that's because if I said I didn't study for it, it did not mean I was lying. I was telling the truth.
Yeah, I don't like that kind of student. I can still remember a friend of mine in my maybe middle school time. She was very sad, crying, buried her head in her arms on the table and very, very sad. And I asked her, what's wrong? And she's like, oh, I just got out of a test and I did terrible and a lot of things went wrong and I don't know what to do. And after 2 or 3 days, when the score comes out, she was the first in the class and I was furious and I hated that. So 我没考好, I didn't do well in my test. I can never trust her when she says that anymore.
But then again, maybe it's because of how she was feeling genuinely. She wasn't 100% sure, because some of these kinds of people, they are perfectionists. They want to be sure. They don't like to have this anxiety of maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, but do you have to cry like your dog just died?
It's a pressure. You never know. There's people who face a lot of pressure and they feel like,
maybe.
oh my goodness, if I don't get this score, I'm just in trouble. You know?
Yeah. There's expression actually saying 我考砸了. So 砸 is like something has crushed. If you push a glass vase on the ground, it'll break. So 砸 is the kind of verb we use. And if you say 考砸了, it means I really, really didn't do well in this one. And that's another sentence I hear good students say a lot.
Yeah, so to them it just feels like the whole world is crumbling.
Oh yeah.
You know, so they're in trouble. They feel like they don't have control over a situation they feel they should be in control of.
Yeah, 没有控制，失去控制.
Yeah.
Because in Chinese, we all know that for the Chinese society, studying is a very important part of it. And since we have a huge population, the best way, maybe not the best, but the best way we can think of right now is to have a unified test to select the talent, to provide the maybe more hardworking students with a little bit better resources. That's the 高考, the college entrance exam. And of course, there are problems with it. Maybe some people are just not that well-rounded. They have some special talent. They need to be treated a little well. But that's just the flaws out of the system. It's just hard to cure.
Yes, but I don't think either way. This doesn't just happen in China. It happens everywhere. It happens where I grew up. We had these tests every year. And I do believe personally, after having grown up, I do believe not everybody is very academic. Some people can be terrible in school or at schoolwork, but then when it comes in general in life, they become really, really successful because they have this creative mind that nobody else has.
Yes, I agree. But for a country with a huge population, it's really hard for anybody to just pick out everybody's great talent and give them the kind of nurture they need. Yeah, but so we can just do what can be done right now. That's using a unified testing system.
Exactly.
Well, that's why Chinese parents and the whole society concentrates a lot on studying, a little bit tense on it, and we value the straight A students.
Yeah, plus it also almost guarantees you a good future, because when it comes to, if you don't perform well in class, yes, there's a high chance you might do well in life in other fields, but it's not guaranteed.
Yeah, you're right. So that's why 学霸 in China is absolutely a good word. But is it an absolute good word in your culture?
I think it has a similar meaning as in China. Yeah, because you have these people who are always like studying, but then they're always putting a lot of pressure on themselves, and to them there's never enough. They're always saying the opposite of what they've actually done. Yeah, but I think it's, in most cases, it's not about, because you also risk appearing as if you're bragging too much or you're boasting if you say, yes, I did prepare very well, and then when the taste comes, you actually failed. And now that's even worse.
Yeah, we have that. And there are some people who do not do very well, or as well as they're taking tests. We call them 考试型选手.
Yeah, so you see, a lot of people don't want to risk being categorized like that. You'd rather say the other way, and then surprise yourself or surprise the person who asked you.
Oh, actually, 考试型选手, 考试 would be test. 型 is like type. 选手 is more like candidate. So 考试型选手 is the kind of people who perform better during tests.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's lucky, I guess.
But it's almost usually obvious when somebody's going to perform well, because people who are always performing well is because they're constantly practicing. So even though they might not spend a lot of time the last minute studying, you just know these people are going to perform well.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, and jokes aside, we do think study is very important, and in my opinion, nerd is not even an active word.
It's not. It's just that some people just use that to intimidate the nerds.
Yes. And I think smart is the new sexy.
Yes.
So for our dear listeners out there, if you're trying really hard learning Chinese, you are very attractive right now. Well, yeah. You're listening to Takeaway Chinese with myself, Niu Hongli, and Neela. Coming up next is a fun Chinese story that can also offer you some Chinese language to take away. Stay tuned.
One story a day. Keep teachers away. Story of the day.
Practice makes perfect. 熟能生巧. During the Northern Song Dynasty, about 1,000 years ago, there was a skilled archer called Chen Yaozi. One day, he drew a big crowd while practicing archery on the drill ground. He shot so accurately that every arrow fired was followed with a rolling response from the crowd. Chen Yaozi was carried away by the applause. He became very proud of his archery skills. But he noticed that among the crowd there was an old oil peddler who only nodded his head indifferently. This hurt Chen Yaozi's pride. He asked the old man,
"Can you shoot an arrow?"
"No, I can't."
"What do you think of my archery skills then?"
"It's okay, but nothing special. You've gained your accuracy from persistent practice. That's all, nothing special."
"Wow, what a tone. So what can you do, old man?"
The old man put a dry gourd on the ground and covered its mouth with a copper coin that has a small square hole in the middle. He then scooped out a ladle of oil from his big jar, held it high, and began to fill the gourd. Now, a thread of oil came down from the ladle into the gourd, just through the hole of the coin. Everybody looking on watched with amazement. When the old man emptied his ladle, he showed the crowd the coin.
"Can you see any oil marks on this coin?"
They could not, and were about to give him a big cheer. But the old man stopped them.
"This is nothing special either. I can do this because I have practiced it a lot. Practice makes perfect. Nothing to be especially proud of."
And with these words, he left to peddle his oil along the streets. Later, people used the idiom, "practice makes perfect," to express someone who is skilled in doing something after plenty of practice.
So 熟能生巧, practice makes perfect.
熟能生巧.
Yes,
Practice makes perfect.
And that applies to Chinese learning as well. If you do it over and over, if you practice the same sentence, at the end of the day, you're gonna say it perfectly.
And good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah.
And that's all for today's Takeaway Chinese. For more episodes of the show, download our app, China Plus, or visit our website at chinaplus.cri.cn and go to the column 你好. If you'd like to listen to the show on demand, just go to Apple Podcast or our very own Easy FM app. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
再见。